All right.
Should I start?
Alright, sing.
Put the Yo, what up? It's the Gleaners Club, week 3, podcast 3. It's
The
your
trilogy.
boy, Akira Hendricks, aka Light Skin God.
Oh,
Just kidding.
are you in that category?
It's Rasai. I'm here with
Piero.
Cosmo.
Jalen.
Court.
and our special guest for the afternoon, Ruth Tamfi.
Ruth.
So, I guess Piero, you wanna give them a heads up of our topics for today?
So our topics today, we're gonna start off with our guest, Ruth. Do you want to talk about yourself a bit?
Well, you know, I'm an artist, illustrator, animator, streetwear designer.
In the making.
In the making.
Okay, Siri.
And, you know, I just finished my Adidas collab, you know. They hit me up on Instagram. And, you know, we're just going to talk about my experience traveling to Europe for the first time in my life.
Damn.
It's so crazy.
So Ruth is
us
Ruth.
or nothing. Like,
For real, you could slide a ticket. I'm hurt. White shots. JetBlue.
it's Ruth plus 5.
So Ruth is our friend since like high school, and she's been doing animations.
Doing
right?
Doing
She's
big
been doing
teams.
it,
Big teams.
and every single year, like she keeps getting more and more recognition for her work.
Clout.
Right? So recently, you've been doing a collab with Adidas, right?
Yeah.
Talk about it.
So here's what happened, right? I get a DM one day on my Instagram from a woman named Brianna, and she said that she is someone who works with Adidas. And as soon as I got that, I was like, so.
Oh my god.
So she asked for my email, because like, you know, we couldn't talk about it on DM. So I sent her my email, and she sent me like the whole list of things, just like pretty much the outline of what's gonna happen. First, she asked me if I'm available on these dates to go to Germany and London.
Yeah.
I had summer classes, bro. But you think I give a shit about that? So
I feel that. I feel that.
What about your job? Were they cool with it?
oh yeah, bro. When I told my job that Adidas was gonna fly me out to Europe, they all went ballistic, bro.
Oh,
and
really?
the thing was, I thought it was fake. I didn't really thought it was real.
Yeah.
Until one of my coworkers, her name is Esther, right? She, a couple weeks ago, she had like a friend that came into the gallery for a visit. And little did I know that he is actually a marketer for Adidas in Portland. So I was like, I gotta talk to that guy. But here's what happened. As soon as I got that email from Brianna, I told Esther about it. And she was like so ecstatic. That I told her how I was a little skeptical about it. So she wanted to make sure. So she texted her friend, you know, and 15 minutes later she comes down the hall and she's like, Ruth. And I'm like, yeah, it's real. And I was like, oh my god.
It's real.
It's real. Because I didn't think it was real.
Ruth, it's a go.
Right? Because like, I thought it was like going to be like, because people were telling me, what if it's like a sex thing? Like, they're just like sending you these fake ass emails, travel your ass to Europe, and next thing you know, you're gone.
Hey,
you never
boo,
come
I'm
back.
trying to fly you out.
Yeah, if it was like to some place like Brazil, I'd be like, yeah, no.
Dark skinned goddess.
Don't go.
Adidas HQ in Brazil. You'd be like, hell no.
Brazil? No. No, sir.
Brazil!
No, my booty is mine.
So you get there, and what happens? Like,
So they fly me out to Germany, right?
yeah.
So the flights was like excellent. I slept, I was in premium. So, you know, I had like a whole bunch of leg space. I had the
You
great
mean
food.
business class?
Yeah.
Wow.
Movies, bro.
Movies. Premium. What the fuck? It's a car.
Shut up.
Bougie.
She said premium.
And when we land in Germany, there's like a connecting flight where I was supposed to go from one city to the next city. And I noticed that like another person, like this other person who I noticed, he was wearing the pods, like the shoes I'm wearing right now.
Okay.
The one they sent us like beforehand with all the merch. I was like, is he part of this shit too? So we get on the same plane and we land at the same time, and then when we both walk out, we have like this guy was standing with a sign with Adidas, and I was like, that's for me.
Specifically for
Can you
you.
imagine going on a plane with the same person at the same time and not coming back at the same time?
I was thinking, I'm like,
That would
okay,
be
so you
weird.
guys get on at the same time. Is he supposed to get off of like
2 hours later? Like,
yeah, like
Like, we all really pretty much showed up at different times. Like, we all showed up at the same day, but we all showed up in different times. I was one of the earliest people there. Like, the car ride, I was with this person I met. His name was Peter. He's from the Shanghai division, one of the cities that they got. Because they were picking people from, like, different tiers of cities. So, Miami's, like, tier 2. Tier 1 is, like, major cities, and they get 2 people from those cities. Tier 1 is when you're by yourself. So, tier 1 is, like, Miami, Atlanta, I think New York. I can't remember the rest of them, but tier 2 was like Los Angeles, all those big places.
yeah.
So the one I went was Peter from Shanghai, and then there was Joe, who was like he runs like he's from I think Detroit. So he runs like the division where he's like a really big streetwear kind of guy. He resells merch. You know, he makes his own merch. You know, he gets like people into the streetwear scene and try to make their own collabs. I forgot the name of his line, but it's pretty major. So, you know, and then we get to the hotel and we were greeted by one of the other Adidas representatives who is German. And, you know, I get my key and I walk into my room, lit as hell. My room was like huge, bro. There's like a desk. I have my own oven, like
Oven.
yeah, like it's
you wasn't
like,
cooking nothing, so room service.
I could get
Hello.
Rupert.
I don't have McDonald's on speed dial.
Really? They pay for your food and use
That would still get McDonald's, boy.
I mean, there was a
Oh my
McDonald's like
God.
not far from me, and I walked in. I was like, this looked like a clean McDonald's, but I didn't have any euros to pay, so I was like,
Really? Are there McDonald's cleaner over there?
yeah.
I would assume
Is
Yeah.
Does that really surprise you?
America's.
I mean, there's homeless people all over the world, so I don't know.
Like the city itself, like I walked around as soon as I got there. Like the city was beautiful, and where I walked to, there was a Foot Locker, bruh. They had shoes that were sold out here, but it's on the window over there, and it's like,
You trying to go to Germany?
Hey, next trip.
it's like shit. They have like all the Jordan cements, like they had those. Like,
Question:
what?
why you didn't bring us nothing back?
Bruh, you didn't ask.
You should have read our minds from across the world.
Confidential.
Confidential.
So you get there and
So, and then like the same day where everybody's coming in, the night we actually like, you know, they took us out to dinner. We went like down the street. They took us to this like kind of like this Asian fusion, but like, bruh, the steak. And I was thinking, I should alcohol.
I mean,
Drinking
it's
age was
legal,
18.
right?
Yeah,
So you
so I was old enough to drink.
That's good.
yeah, it is 18, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like
That's-
18 literally almost everywhere else.
the wine was
What
superb,
year?
but I didn't want to drink that much because I was like, damn, tomorrow's gonna be a big day, so I shouldn't drink that much.
Did you have any jet lag?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Because here's what's weird. So the next day, I woke up. It was bright as fuck outside. Hella bright. But then I look at the clock. It's 5 a.m. So I was
wow.
like, it looks like 10 outside, but it's 5. So I was like, I got like 3 hours. So I couldn't even go back to sleep. You know, I went out for that early ass jog. Still walked around the city. The time I came back, took a shower, and we all met up in the lobby. Got on that Adidas bus. You know,
They have
this,
a bus.
yeah.
Oh man, bless.
Were the floors made out of boost material?
You just walk and it's like, oh man, it's so nice. Are the seats blue? Oh, they are.
This is Kanye's ass print. Right here. On the chair.
Pharrell's the bus driver.
And this is Kim's ass print. And yeah, Kim got 2 seats on that.
Oh my god.
So like, how many people were there? Like how many creators did they bring?
I think it's about 14 in total.
Oh.
About 14. One of them was Joshua Vitas. Like, he pretty much, you know, broke the internet a little bit when he outlined those Jordans, and people were making memes about it, like, you know, the Doodle Bop shoes.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Oh man.
Like, so, you know, they brought him out too. And it was funny because I recognized him, but not right away. Cause as soon as I got on the elevator, he was there on the phone. And I was like, this nigga look familiar. And then when we went down and we started introducing everybody, I heard his name. I was like, oh, so it's you. I was like, I was unexpected. I was like, I did not expect to meet this man.
So it's a lot of like big names.
A lot of them big names, a lot of influencers. Like,
Were there people like you like that has like
No
not
clout.
them?
No.
No, not like no clout. Like no,
You're so mean.
like in no disrespect, but like people who don't have as many followers as like that
Up and
guy,
coming.
or like
I believe
people.
I was like one of the people who had like the lowest following. Cause I
Uh-huh.
only have like 1,000 followers. But you know, like I was telling you about this, Pierre, like a couple weeks ago, like companies are now looking into like influencers and people on Instagram with like fewer followers. They're not pretty much into like people who have like 1 million followers or everything over like 500K. Like they notice like the smaller the like follower account, the more intimate the more account is with the people you follow. So you know they're focused on that because like let's say like you know how Kim Kardashian gets sponsored for like a lot of things. You know sometimes that just gets lost. Like it's like oh yeah she okay, but now it's like for me like to have like 1,000 followers though I'm still pretty much you know intimate with my 1,000 followers. Like the things I post and the artwork I do. So, you know, and people were interested in that. So to have that, I think it was really cool that they were focused on that. So when we get on the tour bus, that lit ass tour bus, and we get to the Adidas HQ, mind you, it's hot as hell, but it's like it's a huge. It looks like a college campus, bruh. It looks like an actual college campus.
Makes sense.
Like, and it was really trippy because we were all noticing like. Since they have so much grass, they had like these little lawnmowers that were mowing the lawn themselves. Like nobody was like, we were just tripping out. Like it
Who
was
the
like,
hell do they think they are? Didn't they Google?
like
Shit.
you hear Beja right next to me saying like, these shit's gonna take over the world. So
What's good,
they,
Beja?
Yeah.
My name is Cosmo.
Sending out the application, huh?
Okay, you weren't that well. Continue, Ruth.
Oh,
please.
sorry.
but yeah, we took we were there for 2 days. The first day was just a tour of the whole campus, and it was like this huge ass glass building. They have like different buildings. Like they had like their archives. They had everything that they told us the history of Adidas and how like you could see Puma's factory like the hill away. And I actually did. I was like, shit, is that the Puma factory? Like, you know, because you know the story.
Did they tell you how they copied, how Margiela copied them? You know the Margiela replicas?
Are you serious?
Yeah, those are like made for like a Russian army or German army or some shit like that. And then Margiela saw them and was like, oh yeah, baby. That's why they're called replicas.
Dang.
Because it's Adidas. It's a rip off of Adidas.
Dang, I did not hear that part.
Damn.
We just heard the
Should've
story of the
been like,
What the
brothers.
fuck? You should
Give me some Margielas.
That's the story they won't tell you.
okay, so that was day 1. What happened day 2?
So day 2, that was when we actually got the design stuff going on. So we went into the Makers Lab, right? And we were greeted by like all these designers that were like in different departments, you know. One of the designers there, he was in charge of the Yeezys, you know. Unexpectedly, I did not know he was gonna be there.
Wow.
Exactly. And they were like telling us like a little bit of the history of the pods, how like this shoe, the pod, like this was not like the first come up about it. This shoe was made like years ago, many years ago. It
I
just
would
looked,
imagine.
yeah, it just looked completely different. So what they do with Adidas is interesting enough. Like they wanted to bring something from the archives and reimagine it. So, and that's why they brought us out too, like maybe just to like have like different points of it, since you know, point of deflection. That was pretty much the whole point of it, bridging like from the new to the old. That's why there's like a little bridge gap in the shoe with the Ultra Boost and like the pretty much material from the old shoe itself. So I thought that was really interesting. So the fact that they brought us out and you know, from like I said before, like people, the artists they brought out were from tier 1 and tier 2 cities. You know, tier 1 cities, they had 2 people from each city. Tier 1 is by yourself.
Yeah.
So, you know, you had to team up with like one designer, and you pretty much worked as a team to get your point across on what kind of narrative you want to tell with your shoe. So, the person I had, this dope girl named Mackenzie, you know, part of the women's brand of Adidas, you know, she was helping me design my shoe. I was telling her like what was the narrative I wanted to push for my shoe. I was like, okay, I wanted to do something kind of like a Miami flavor, like neon lights, you know, like a night out shoe, like something you can wear during the day and it looks lit, but when you wear it in the nighttime, it looks extra lit.
That's cool.
So and it was like so interesting about how it pretty much went about designing, like the tools they gave us to use, like especially like all the swatches and the mood boards. I was like, oh my god. So it was really interesting. One of the texts they let us use is like they all gave us like an iPad. Mm-hmm. And the night before, they all gave us like an iPad mini. They had those in our hotel rooms because as soon as I got back, I was like, shit, it's an iPad mini. And they wanted us to bring it the next day to the design workshop so we can have like, you know, we could probably study or actually have sketches on it and actually like, you know, screenshot certain pictures to have it, to, you know, send it to the cloud, to their cloud so we can have it like there and all those files. So, you know, we brought all our iPad minis and the iPad they gave us was just like, they had the shoe already on the model, and if you tap a part of the shoe, it makes like a camera. So you can go up to the wall and see a swatch or a color and take a picture of it, you know, just tap it again and it would like, that part of the shoe would be that color.
Wow, that's crazy.
That was really cool. So I was going crazy. I was like, damn, these swatches were cool.
Clicking everything.
Exactly. And they have like so many materials that you could just go into the back and just pick out. Like the material I wanted was something breathable and something that pretty much like forms around your shoe. But I also wanted to have like something that the graphic that I'm using to be the best printed on, because my shoe has like a graphic that I use from one of my art, you know, from one of my pieces.
Your style,
yeah. Because I love calligraphy and I love like the pretty like grunge look. So I wanted that printed on the shoe, but I still wanted to be pretty much breathable and like form-fitting. And I also wanted like, you know, more Miami texture, because, you know, that's what pretty much reminded me of. So, but I also wanted to push out the neon lights kind of idea more, and pretty much the Miami colors in 305. So in the shoe on the bottom, just like for the one they sent us, you can see it, there's like a word that says like confidential in red. So you can pretty much like, it can have like a clear coating on it under your shoe. So, you know, what I wanted is that I wanted like the graphic 305 over and over and over again inside the bridge of the shoe. So when you flip it over, you can see through it. And I also wanted the stripes to have like a reflective material, so you can like see it shine like in the darkness and like in the nighttime, like if somebody shines like a flashlight.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and I also added like pink, like these pink like highlight stitching. That, you know, it's a subtle effect to like give it a little bit of brightness because the shoe is pretty much dark. So I wanted to add that too. And it's gonna be lit when it comes, you know, when I get those shoes. You know, I'm gonna be rocking them every day. You know, 20 years old, I'm the new Sean Witherspoon. So,
hey,
yeah.
Whoa!
Watch out, Sean Witherspoon.
You know what that was? That was a.
That wasn't
Wow.
a reach.
That's so disrespectful. Hey, no, listen, when a Care Bear come out, don't buy that shit.
Wow.
This man disrespecting the next Sean Witherspoon. Is it because she's a woman or something?
Nah, not even.
You're not getting my shoe.
That's crazy.
Gleaner Clubs gets everyone except you.
You wasn't
You're
getting
not
one
on the
anyway.
list.
And I'm the one that started. No, I'm playing. But yeah, so that's pretty lit though.
Was this workshop for their inspiration, or was it like what exactly was it for? Were they did they want to get inspired by you guys, or did they just want to see artists come together and
Pretty much both. They want to get inspired, but that's pretty much the scary thing. Like we were pretty much. I heard this conversation come up where it's like, oh, they pretty much brought us out, to, you know, to have like these ideas and probably use them later without our consent. That was the scary idea, and I didn't even think about that. I was like, shit.
Cause see, it's one thing to go for artists that are widely known. It's like, yeah, we've seen that before. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Just like how you brought it up earlier, they don't want to go for people with a lot of followers. Yeah. Because we see it every day. But they go for the more low-key people with their, you know, they have their own style. And your style is definitely different. You may see that come up again, you know. It's like, it's a great opportunity. I definitely think
they could be on some shiesty shit.
Exactly. Because it's, you know, it reminds me of, for some reason, about the thing that happened with A$AP Bari and the Valone thing. It's like, they're like, oh, we don't want your collab, but we'll take the idea, you know. So it's like, hopefully they'll, you know, as your name goes up, they'll actually do a collab with you. You know, you get that opportunity again, and they don't just, you know, take that idea.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
the
like,
scary part.
Yeah, you should start copywriting shit like ASAP.
Especially when your art is so distinct. you know, and you can tell, you know, so. But yeah, as you were explaining, like, what exactly?
Yeah, that's the exact point that I was gonna bring up too. Like, I was pretty much afraid that like maybe like this wasn't just an opportunity just to design, but also like for them to see what we can do too. Just like getting, cause you know how Nike pretty much almost does the same thing, but on like a more global scale. Mm-hmm. You know, like having those workshops. Those,
like on Air Max Day?
Yeah, those Air Max workshops, and then, you know, if you get picked, you get, you know, your shoe gets, you know, taken up. But then like, what do they do with the submissions they don't use? Do they also put them in the archives?
That's a good question.
That's a scary shit. That's like, fuck.
No, I would assume that every company that does something like that takes those ideas and puts it in an archive, but it's one thing to keep it in the archive just for archive's sake, and it's another thing to leave them back there and utilize them later on for their own personal benefit without the artist's consent and without giving recognition.
So compensation.
Yeah.
So, long story short, if you ever see something that looks like your art, lawyer.
But it's one of those things that I think every artist goes through. Like, some artists are like, oh, I'm afraid to post my art on Instagram because what if someone steals my idea? But it's like, if you don't post it, no one's ever gonna see it, you know. So like, if you didn't have that opportunity, all those people wouldn't have known you know, work with Adidas. So that's why it's like, you know, which one is better, actually getting that Adidas clout or oh, I don't want them to steal my idea, which you know, you never know, they might not even, you know. And then you can make more, which is
exactly, you know,
so.
you just got to take the risk. Which is why I actually like fell in love with this whole experience. So like the design thing was like crazy, and David Beckham showed up in the building too, but we couldn't meet him because like as soon as word got around that David Beckham was in the building, all the Adidas employees started, you know, flowing out and, you know,
wetting their pants.
Ooh, David Beckham. And the employees was going crazy.
Yeah, because
it's David Beckham, bro. Like,
yeah, but I don't know.
He
Superstar.
unexpectedly came. That's the funny part. I'm like, you guys didn't plan this, like. Because when they told us that he was in the building, they didn't sound like they didn't even believe it either. Like, so you guys, we just got word that David Beckham's here. I was just like,
I never understood like stuff like that, like how people go gaga over other people. I don't know, it's weird.
well, I mean, you really have to look at it as a point of influence. Like, how much have they influenced that specific company? Like, if you think about it, David Beckham, bro, like soccer.
and
Adidas,
is all about
soccer, Adidas,
I
soccer,
understand.
Beckham.
It's just like you gotta like stop the whole event. Oh,
So Tyler just walks in right here.
It's the
You're
same
stopping
thing.
the podcast a little bit.
Why would I stop the podcast? That's dumb. I'll keep it going. But I'm
No,
not
you
gonna.
wouldn't.
Tell him to come.
No, I'm not gonna like go crazy because like that's just gonna scare them off. Like,
No, I know.
if
what
I
you mean.
walk into a building and someone's like, "Holy shit, it's go!" I'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'm
Time for me to go.
What the hell? Like, go back to my hotel. My Uber's outside. I'm not like I don't know. Me,
Hey, yo, Earl, call the
it's just
Uber.
not me. Like it doesn't make sense to go crazy like that to me.
I mean, he is a big influencer, technically, you know.
Really? If you're
I
if you're a
guess-
soccer
yeah.
player,
Yeah, like
he's a big influence. But you tell me every single employee in there.
a good
I mean, it
majority
would-
of the employees were
But he
out.
influenced the company.
I
The
know.
company is in Europe, and he's like a big person in Europe.
I know.
Yeah.
For sure,
So
for
it's
sure.
it's probably
He
different.
played for Real Madrid.
Oh my god.
So that's what happened the second day,
Yeah.
and then you had another event, right?
That was in London, which was crazy because, you know, I flew back to Florida. I was there for a weekend. I was like, all right, gotta clean my clothes, you know, wash them shits, repack. And, you know, I flew out on Monday.
Real Madrid, by the way.
But it was crazy because, you know, I thought the London was gonna be a little bit smoother. But, you know, I had, like, you know, some unexpected, you know, things that came about that London trip. Just getting there. Yeah, like 2 airport shutdowns. How the hell does that happen?
Wow.
Shutdown.
Yeah, like, so tell me how, you know, what Adidas did is that, you know, they picked me up from my house. You know, they sent a car.
No, really?
Yeah, they sent.
Your house here in Florida?
Yeah, they sent
What the
cars
fuck?
to pick me up.
She ever done a house?
From your crib to
house
take
in the middle of the
Yeah, they sent like a
No, I thought she meant like from her hotel room, like over there.
I mean,
Like,
yeah.
like
they
her
sent
house
cars.
in here? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, how you think I got to the airport? You think I Ubered? That's
Yeah,
not my
I don't
money.
know.
They had a car pick me up.
That's kind of creepy. I don't know. Yeah, we have the subject at the door. She's answering the door after.
It's a free ride. You go. I don't care.
They pull up to your house and
Adidas? Come on in.
Come on in.
they
bro.
pull up to your house and you need to
Want
send
some
them the
coffee?
address.
Right?
You're like, what? You're outside.
I'm like, damn, y'all niggas quick.
Your parents shook.
They called me like they told me beforehand that you were gonna have car service. I was like, oh really? Cool. You know, they sent me all the receipts and everything. That gave me a peace of mind because you know they sent me my flight receipts. They sent me like the receipts for the car service, what time it's gonna pick me up, what type of car is gonna pick me up.
Damn.
And it
It was
was
a
like,
Lambo? Oh, shit.
Nah,
no,
really?
I'm just kidding.
I
It was
would
like,
love to be like,
it was like a really nice
It
caddy.
was a Honda Civic.
That'd be crazy. You see, like, Piero pull up?
That would make more sense for it to be a German car, but whatever.
No, bro.
They not in Germany?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, Adidas.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
I mean-
Correlation.
And she was going to London at this time.
Oh, that was the first stop?
Like,
No, that was the
Context
second.
clues.
That was the second stop. She's talking about her second trip.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in the first trip too, they did give me car service. You know, they did pick me up and they dropped me off. And when I came back, they did pick me up and drop me off.
Pick you up in the Beamer? German whip?
No, in London they put me up in they picked me up in the London whip. You know, and it was odd because you know how they be driving on the opposite side. I was like tripping. I was like,
It's like
yeah.
the little ass
Oh
cars, huh?
shit.
it was actually huge. It was a wide ass car.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Damn. The
car had
I
Wi-Fi.
know about London.
like the car had Wi-Fi, bro. Like you know, you like rolling in luxury.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
I was like, oh my god.
She's like, oh, my data's running out.
Oh, what did you do? Like, how was that situation? Did you have to get like a MiFi or something?
Oh no.
Did your phone service work up there?
So my husband David had data roaming.
You peep how she... My husband.
So weird.
Looks in
Husband.
the
You're a grown
camera,
woman,
David.
bro. You out here taking trips to Europe with a husband?
Wow.
Yo, you grown, bro.
Oh,
I got my first grown friend. Yeah, bro.
See this ring? I wear it on this finger because it's the only finger that fits. That's how sad that is.
What the fuck is going on?
It's just on the topic of her being married, but whatever. Okay, whatever.
Alright,
Fucking
so the
child
first
abuse.
phone service he has roaming.
Yeah, he has data roaming in Germany and London. So you know, he gave me his phone. You know, he had my phone to
That's
use.
trust.
Yeah, you know the trust. You know, the people I told that, and they're like, "Damn, he must love you." I was like,
Yeah, that's trust, man.
I wouldn't give my mom my phone. That's it.
Yeah, mom's different. I don't know any dude who would give their mom their phone to keep. What the fuck? Guys, what is this? Alright, so you go to London.
yeah, I'm in London after all that airport crazy. Like, Fort Lauderdale lost power. How does that happen? Like, and it was.
A lot of those trash.
Like, I was so mad. And, like, what really pissed me off is that the fact, like, 2 hours in, which was how long the flight was supposed to be, like, the time I was supposed to land there was the time we actually left. And the computers never came back on. They just decided, all right, you guys, we're going to do it manually. I'm like, where were you guys, like, an hour ago?
Damn.
They could have been done that.
It was chilling in the break room.
Exactly. They're like, we're trying to get the computers back up. It's not just here. It's all of Fort Lauderdale International. I was like,
Wow.
and Atlanta was also going through something too, something about like some weather kind of thing was happening. So, you know, air traffic there was like, cause you know, Hartsville-Jackson is like one of the busiest airports in America, and they have like more than 1,000 planes like going out every hour. And they told us that only like 55 are going out an hour. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So when we finally land in Hartsville-Jackson, we was in like the runway, but we wasn't at the gate. We stayed there for like a good 45 minutes at like
Wow.
the damn runway. And I was getting updates from my phone because I was trying to check my connecting flight to London. Because my flight was supposed to leave at 9. I was supposed to get there at 8 and leave at 9. I got there at 9, but my flight was delayed to London. I was like, oh my god, I still have a chance.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm updating it constantly, and it's like, oh my god, it's still here. Oh my god, it's still here. And by the time we get to the gate, and by the time I walk out of that shit, I'm like, all right, time to rush over to my gate. I refreshed again, and it's like, oh, take off. I was so mad. What? Cause like in Germany it almost happened, but I was like, bet money, and I reached all the flights. Like, I didn't miss a single flight, but like in Atlanta, I was like, I missed my flight. I was like, just by 2 minutes. Just by 2 minutes. I was so mad. So I went to, and I was with Delta. So.
Oh, yuck.
Delta's actually not that bad.
It's not bad.
JetBlue. What the fuck?
Okay, clearly, but I'm saying it's
not that bad.
It's not Spirit.
Spirit's bad.
Spirit's really bad. But yeah.
Shut your ass. It's for another topic, another day.
Wow, this fucking Spirit ride or die over here. This man will sit in a seat like this. Bro, I'm comfy. Like, come on,
What
dude.
we're having here, guys.
Be realistic here.
I always wanted to be
You can't
close to
even
you.
stick your damn toes.
I don't know what spirit y'all riding.
I don't know.
Bro,
what
what spirit are you riding?
Spirit is for like cheap, you know, if you're trying to get from here to like, let's say Atlanta or
Yeah,
like New
just
York.
quick.
You know, quick, you know, something 3 hours and under. But if you're trying to go long distance, more than 5, no.
Oh, maybe because Piero's like this big. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a double entendre.
Oh!
This nigga nasty.
All right, we're getting off track. All right.
But anyway, yeah, they told me like, all right. So I'm like asking, all right, can I get the next flight to London? These niggas told me that. They told me that like, all right, everything's full. I was like,
What? Everything's full. Get out of my face. Like, what?
but then like, here's what we're gonna do to you. And I called David, and David's like, you know, he's searching some stuff up too on the side. He's like,
Why are you
"No."
calling David? Call Adidas. They
If anything, Adidas is gonna make some shit happen before David.
I told him this, everything.
I'm
They're
pretty
like-
sure.
I told them that too. They're like, you know, try to get on the next flight possible. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, I'm trying my hardest. I'm telling David too at the same time because, you know, I want him to search up too. He found 2 flights with United that were leaving hours earlier that I couldn't take. But I was flying with Delta, and you can only stay with Delta. And they didn't feel like calling the niggas from the other airlines to let me on. Only one person, I was in the line twice. The first time they're like, we'll put you on the 5 o'clock morning flight to Detroit, and you can catch the flight from there. And the flight to
Jeez.
London at that time in Detroit was 6 o'clock at p.m. So I had to leave in the morning to get there and sit there for hours to wait for the London flight.
Oh, hell no.
Damn.
That would have been it.
So I was like, but they're like, oh, we ran out of hotel rooms for you to stay at, so here's like a little complimentary, you know, little bag for, you know, refreshing yourself up. And I looked at it, it's like a toothbrush, some shaving cream.
Shaving cream? Oh, yeah, those niggas nasty. I was like, hey, we know you taking that trip.
You gotta make do.
They gave me like a comb and a razor and
A comb?
like a little
They
stick
didn't
of
think you're a
deodorant.
guy?
Yeah, what the fuck is going
It
on
was
here?
just something in general, you know. So
Shaving
I was like, I can't accept this. I can't. So
Hell no.
I get in the line for a second time, and I talked to a different person. He tried his hardest, at least, to get me on like through another vendor, through another airline to get me on it. But and he called them, you know, and they didn't want to pick up. But finally, they picked up, and they're like, all right. I talked to American Airlines and United. They sold out too. I was like, have you seen this? But they're
Yo,
like,
what's up with these niggas, bro? Like,
Exactly.
damn, just like they don't
Just
want niggas
your
to fly.
luck.
I was like, just my luck. So, you know, they told me, like, all right, we're going to put you on the 5 a.m. flight to Detroit. You'll get there about, it's a 3-hour flight. I'll get there at like 8 or something. And then you'll reach that connecting flight for London at 6. Bro, I was supposed to be there a day before. Like, I left Monday night. I was supposed to be there Tuesday because the whole workshop that I'm supposed to be there with the release party is supposed to be at Wednesday. It's Tuesday at this point. It's midnight.
Jesus Christ.
So, let's skip ahead to where I actually was in Detroit. Detroit has like a really nice airport, so I was pretty chill.
Yeah,
You know, I was just waiting there. And, you know, I finally got to I'm finally like on the London flight, you know, there for like a couple hours. You know, I still had good food. I was watching The Incredibles. I was watching all the flight movies, you know, because, you know, they're all an hour and it's like a 9-hour flight. And I get there Wednesday morning. Like at that time, they're a day ahead, but by the time we left, it's Tuesday night. So I'm there Wednesday morning, and I was like, all right, I'm finally at London. And, you know, and I'm already like trying to reach like the guy who's supposed to pick me up. And they changed the terminals pretty much, because I was supposed to be picked up in Terminal 2, and they pretty much put us in Terminal 3. So it's not his fault, it's fucking Delta. So
Hey, don't fly Delta, y'all.
Tell him, bro. JetBlue. Hey, email me.
So I finally reached, like, you know, I finally got to the driver, you know, and, you know, I got like that complimentary water, and he's like driving on that opposite side, and I'm on the Wi-Fi, and it's like pretty early in the morning. It was like 9 o'clock, and we were all supposed to meet at 11. That's when like we're all supposed to meet at the lobby for the event at 11. It's 9, and I get there at 9:30. And I'm like, all right, I'm finally here. I still got some time. I can take a shower, get some breakfast. And then they're like, so I'm trying to check in, right? And they're like, you were supposed to check in yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Man.
And I was like,
Really?
but it's okay though. And they're like, all right, we got your room ready. You just have to wait 30 minutes. And I'm like, 30 minutes, bro? I want to shower, bro. I slept at an airport. Like,
Yeah.
I want to get done. But, you know, I told, like, all the representatives who were there, I let them know what happened. And, you know, they put their heart out to me and shit. They're like, you know.
Oh yeah, that means a lot.
No, I was appreciated the fact they understood, you know. Because the time was, like, it was against the clock at this point. It was getting pretty fucking close. So they're like, listen, if they leave before you do, I'll stay here with you and we could go together. And I was like,
What?
okay, yes, thank you.
That's
So
comforting.
So I walked into my room and, yeah, damn, it was nice as hell. I was so mad that I didn't get there the day before because I would have enjoyed it. But I was so upset. But I hurry up, I get dressed, I take a shower, I freshen up, I walk back downstairs. They didn't leave yet, so, you know, we all left together. I was telling everybody from, like, who I met, like, the week before, you know, everybody who I bonded over. And I was like, you weren't here at the dinner last night. And tell me how Beja was on, like, Instagram Live, you know? Not on Live. She was on Instagram Stories, you know, with the Pod Squad. And I was like, these niggas have a lobster.
Wish Ruth was here.
Airport food.
Man,
The vision was like, hey, we got this lobster. Too bad this chick Ruth ain't here. How's the airport? We eat lobster, bitch. We eat scallops.
No, I love Beja, but like I had to let everybody know what happened, bro. I was like, hey guys, I just got here. They're like, for real though? And apparently I wasn't the only person who had like airport trouble, but they still got there on time. I was like, but like there was 2 people who also came, like, who was cutting it close too. They came like an hour, like 2 hours after me. So they were in the nick of time when we were just starting. Like they got to the event too. So I was like, fucking Delta, what's going on? But after all that, I made it to the event. We went to like the little pop-up shop they had with the pod event. It's beautiful. It took a whole bunch of pictures. It was really nice. Like they had like all these kind of like remnants of the shoes that they use, pretty much like all the materials, and they pretty much were like setting up a store so where you can actually buy it in London. And they had like this big ass disco ball in the front. I was like, damn, they're going all out. So they pretty much explained to us like what's gonna be happening, what's this event all about, and why they're so happy that we all made it, especially me. So, and then we moved to another location, because how it happened is that we were all in different groups. My group was starting at 11. There was a group that started early in the morning. Thank God I wasn't a part of that one, because I would have had to change groups. But yeah, the first group was they went to the Maker's Lab and then they went back. My group went to the other location and then we went to the Maker's Lab. So we walked into the Maker's Lab and they had like this whole warehouse where you could just come in and they had all these materials, they had all these technology, they had all these machines that you can use. And what you had to do was like, it's kind of like the same thing. You had a designer, you were in a group and you were with a larger group this time, but you had a designer who could help you personally one-to-one, and you could like pretty much, and it was basically like a workshop to more hands-on, because the week before was just designing and drawing and pretty much coming with mock-ups. This time was more hands-on, where you can like pick up the material, pick up like the little model of the shoe and connect the dots, and pretty much like they have like a station where they glue the shoe together. They had another station where after you picked up all the materials and you arranged the shoe how you want it, they would stitch it all together. And then they had like in the back they had like a spray can they had like a spray paint area where you could go in and like change the color of the whole shoe itself.
Wow.
They had gold spray paint, bro. It was amazing. So
special about gold spray paint?
The brand.
The brand?
Okay.
That's a good brand.
That's a good brand.
Yeah.
They had like a shit ton. I was like, bro, this is like the littest place ever. I want to live here.
I bet they had all types of colors too.
They did. They really
Wow.
did. They had all types of materials. They had stuff from like, they had stuff that came from like other shoes too. They had like the stripes where you can add it. One of the shoes they had in the archives was called like a future pace, where like they had like this little kind of like a.
Oh wait, you sure you could talk about that?
Yes, I can.
You know how some companies are.
Let's just say it's a little device where it can track your footsteps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Track your footsteps.
Yeah. They
What
have
is it like connected to like a?
Kind of like the tongue of the shoe, where you
Oh.
just have it up in the front. So they had like a shit ton of those in the box, and they had like all these different materials in the box. So you could just pick one and rearrange it and pretty much make like a Frankenstein of your shoe how you want it. And they had this one guy who was like, well, you can embroider your design to like the shoe itself. So what I did, you know, if you saw my Instagram, the shoe I uploaded, I made like a little character face, and you know, I drew that in Sharpie, and I went up to him. I was like, hey, can you like, you know, do this embroidery of an outline? And he actually loved it. Like, he apparently had fun doing it because he took a picture of the shoe after because he felt so proud. And I was like, damn.
He's like smiling and shit, like, I did that shit.
Plot twist, he went on social media, look what this bitch made me do. All this complicated shit.
This is my shoe.
All of this was at the pop-up shop?
Yeah, kind of like the Maker's Lab at the other pop-up shop. Like, they just set up like this whole warehouse out of, like, yeah, it was like at a warehouse. And then, so, like, as we were like designing, and we only had 2 hours to make like the Frankenstein. So I was like, shit, I was like trying to rush. I was like, damn, this is gonna be fun, but Jesus, we on the clock. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting down drawing some more, right? Just trying to get more of like what I want to put on the shoe. And then I get approached by one of the other representatives, and she's like, hey Ruth, you want to explain to me what you're doing with your shoe right here? And I was telling her like my process, like, oh, you know how shoes, you know, they're made to look good and stuff, but I just want to make something that's pretty illustrative, you know, something that pretty much connects to the work that I do. So I want to do something really fun and chaotic. And I was telling her all about it, and she says, oh, that sounds really interesting. Hey, we have someone who you can tell that to, you know. Could you just sit right here, you know, keep drawing, do what you're doing? I'm like, all right. And I'm drawing again, you know. Next thing you know, a wave of cameras coming in. Next thing you know, I see Pharrell around the table. I was like, my face, bro. I was like,
I am other.
What do I do?
I was like, oh no.
She's about to call David.
David.
I need help.
I'm like, it's fucking Pharrell, bro. What do I do?
That's
But
tight.
he just came around the corner. Like, I did not expect Pharrell to be here. I was like, it's fucking Pharrell. I was like, hey, what's Pharrell? Was like, he shook my hand, and damn, he had a firm ass handshake. I swear to God.
You should have said that.
You just fucking glorifying his handshake.
You should have said that to his face. Like, as soon as he came out, you're like, damn, you fucking Pharrell.
Then he fucks
He would've been like, oh.
busts out in song.
Singing. He made a song like beforehand.
Right?
I would have gone ballistic if he started singing. I would have been like, oh, this beats everything.
Nah,
I don't deserve this.
If Pharrell came up to me and started singing, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, Pharrell.
Like, shit, is this a promposal? But like,
I'm dead.
but yeah, I talked to Pharrell for a little bit. I explained like what my idea was the shoe is and the type of work that I do, and we was talking about Miami for a little bit, and he was like, isn't Miami just a great place? I'm like, yeah, it is, you know. Well, minus the homeless.
Yeah, right? Pierre and Corey, isn't Miami just like a great place?
We're gonna get on that soon.
We're gonna get on that soon, but yeah, Miami's a great place. He loves it. I'm like, yeah, Miami's a great place. And you know, too bad the time was pretty much short because you know he had to go around. It's fucking Pharrell, so I'm pretty sure he was pretty busy. But you know that conversation I'll never forget. And then he hugged me, and then I'm like he guessed. He's like, when's your birthday? And I was like, April 6th. He's like, oh, I knew it. You're an Aries. And I was like. He guessed that I was an Aries. He actually said that's like, are you an Aries? I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm April 5th. I was like, Pharrell, your birthday's the day before mine. I was like, we brothers now.
Brothers.
What?
Brother and sister.
You don't understand.
David.
I'm just gonna charge it to the game and assume she was just shook from meeting the man.
Exactly. I was shook.
Oh, you said that's him? We're brothers?
No. I was just thinking out in the back of my head, like, oh my God, Pharrell. But like,
She's like, oh, give me your number.
Facts.
Did you
No, for real. Like, she should have.
Did you tell him like,
we could
oh, we
link.
should link in Miami?
yes.
Because he lives in Miami, right?
Yeah, I was like, you live in Miami? He still does. You know, he told me how he was from Virginia and then he was in Miami.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know, Pharrell, I'm in Miami too. You know, a selfless plug. You know, I always got to do that for myself. You know, then we took a picture. You know, he was on his way, and I was like, I just met fucking Pharrell.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that could lead to opportunities.
Yep. So
In
Pharrell,
Miami.
if you're watching this, you know, I'm waiting for that DM. So.
Nah, fuck a DM. You know.
He's like, oh, what? Blocked.
Cause didn't like last year Art Basel Adidas had like an event?
They
here?
did, and I was like, they had like they sponsored this event. It was specifically Adidas skateboarding, but they were doing like a little thing with a Juxtapose, the magazine firm with all the art-based firm. So they had like this show down the street from where I was going to school, like Miami-Dade. Down the street, they set up like a whole art gallery in a 3-story Walgreens building. Like it was an old Walgreens building, and they reinvented it, and they decided to make a gallery. And it was lit. Like I swear, that work was better than Art Basel. In my personal opinion, like some of the pieces were way better. I don't know why. I think I fuck with urban art more.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I think that's one thing about Miami. Art Basel. That's the big thing. That's when all people decided to come out, like Virgil.
Yeah, but they could probably like hit you up this year, Art Basel.
They fucking better.
They better hit me up, goddammit.
So that was all from your trip? Like what
Let's
happened
see.
after the pro?
Let's see. I go back to designing. We finished the shoe. Next thing you know, and then what happened? Then the nighttime hit. Migos.
Migos.
Yep. Like they gave us wristbands beforehand, right? They're like, okay, this is for you to get into the event tonight. I cut the line. So because it was me. Everybody was part of the workshop. You get a wristband. You're not gonna wait in that fucking line. So I go in.
Oh, it was like a public event? Like, what was it? What's this event?
I think it was kind of public.
Yeah.
Because, like, the venue they had was pretty, like, it wasn't huge. It was it's kind of small, more like an intimate kind of setting, which I kind of like. But yeah, like, we all walked in. We got dinner first, and then we walked into the event, And, there was, like, some British rappers, on stage, hyping us up. And people were like dancing and enjoying themselves, and a lot of drinking was happening. I'm like, hey, I saw you earlier. Look at you getting crunk.
Oh man.
Crunk.
They're getting.
I ain't never heard of that. What's crunk? What the
Can you take a breather?
It used to be like a dance. It's crunk.
Yeah, that's enough.
Like these people are getting hyped up, and Migos made an appearance. I was turning the fuck up. I was like, oh, and we were like. The funny part is, like, hours before we were like, I bet you Kanye's coming. I bet you Kanye's coming.
I ain't gonna tell y'all niggas.
He really did it.
That nigga was in Wyoming.
He would have popped up for like 20 seconds. Scoop did he whoop. Scoop did he scoop.
And then like, oh, y'all invited to Wyoming.
That'd be lit.
Buy your own tickets.
And you have to buy my merch.
That's right.
And wear it.
Can't get in without a Yeezy season 1.
I'm dead. But yeah, we saw Migos live, and then I knew Pharrell was gonna make an appearance because I'm like, Migos and Pharrell, they have a song together, Stir Fry. I bet money that Stir Fry was gonna come up, and it did. And I was like, hey, it's Pharrell again. And I was like, so it was the best time of my life. But the thing was, remember, I was late for that trip. I was supposed to be there Tuesday and Wednesday, so technically I was there for a day. Or I would have been there for a day, because I talked to the representative again, like, hey, since I came in just today, hours before, didn't really sleep that much, it'd be great, it'd be lit if I just have an extra day. I told them beforehand, and I really didn't, I was just asking just to see what would happen.
Just once.
And, and then after Migos performed, there was kind of like an after party, people were chilling and hanging out. Back at the hotel, they had like a little underground party too, so I went there. I was with like a few of the other influencers and
Party after party.
yeah,
That's crazy.
I was with Clark and I was with a few other people.
He was getting turned.
I wasn't getting turned like for an
She was not answering David's call. He's trying to FaceTime. She's like, what the fuck? I'm turned.
No.
What happens in London
Hey,
stays
yo,
in
David,
London.
what happens in London basement parties, after parties, stays in London basement
Bruh.
parties, after parties.
They were playing Jamaican music. I was like, oh word.
Oh,
In
shit.
London?
White
Yeah.
people love Jamaican music.
They
bro.
were playing
They
Jamaican
love that
music.
shit.
I was like, it wasn't bad, but it's the stuff I hear on the radio all the time, so it's like. But then the party was kind of dead too. It was just like an appearance by like
That's what you say.
by some local celebrity who I didn't really know. I think it was like something London local that they knew, but I didn't know.
Did Skepta ever come?
That's what I'm about to get. Here's what I'm about to get to. So it's like 1:00 in the morning. I get to my hotel room. I'm feeling tired. And I get a text saying like, "Hey Ruth, we extended your stay to a day. Enjoy." I was like, lit.
I thought you were about to say Skepta hit you up with that.
Can you imagine getting a text from Skepta?
Just like what the hell? Just the eye emoji.
I was so scared.
Okay.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
they gave you another day. That's tight.
Yeah, and like so here's what happened the next day. So it was just me like going around the city. Beja was also there for, she was in London for her own business there too, so everything overlapped, but she was there. So
Damn.
we were just hanging out together. And we walked to like, there's this like a dope ass sneaker store next to the hotel called Sneaker Stuff. And I bought some, I know I was there for Adidas, but I bought some like Air Max 98s.
Oh, what a traitor.
I'm snitching. Wow.
Not just me, Beja bought Nike too. So,
Hey, listen, don't throw Beja under the
Oh, so
bus.
just because she do it, you got to do it.
No, she bought the
So you gonna get cat scratches on your eyebrows too? Just because Beja got it?
Wow.
Shut your ass up.
Niggas is pressed.
But yeah, like, we snuck that into the hotel, like, let's just put this in the rooms real quick, then we'll head out again. It was, come on now, it was some Air Max 98s. It was like the Nebula Blue. I wanted
Man,
it.
you just chilling with Beja? Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's
we walked
crazy,
around
bro.
the city. We had like this good ass fried chicken, like around the corner. I was like,
Beja was like, I'm taking this one back.
I'm dead.
Beja was like, oh yeah, you like that chicken?
I'm tired of you.
Oh god.
Complex? I'm not coming. I'm staying.
David, I'm not coming.
No, Beja calls David.
She's going to pull a quick ass.
No.
Is this David? Yeah, she's busy. Forever.
I'm tired of y'all.
What are you doing with my girl? Our girl.
That would be wild. Beja would do some crazy shit.
Oh god.
She's really nice, but she's really cool. But yeah,
Mhm,
we
sure
was
she
hanging
is.
around and shit, and like she like the day before also when we were walking back to the hotel after the event just to get ready, she met up with someone on the street that she knew, and she told us that like, oh, this guy is Playboy Cardi's security. Playboy Cardi's here for Adidas. I was like, where?
Oh shit.
But he didn't perform at the same night. So I was like, Playboy Cardi wasn't here. So when is he gonna be here? So thank God I was there for that extra ass day because, they had like a separate event pretty much focusing on like more like the soccer type of theme, like the more like calling all creators thing. And Playboy Cardi had made an appearance, he had a concert. And it was a pretty small kind of setup because, it was smaller than the Migos concert, like way smaller. Like it was like kind of like a room as big as this.
Wow.
But the stage was like on the little level, like right there. So I was like pretty much near the front of the stage, and I saw Playboy Cardi that night. I was like, "Hey, it's Playboy Cardi," and everybody's getting crunk, everybody's dancing.
This word.
People were like, dropping drinks and shit. Like,
Oh yuck. Floor is sticky.
yeah, the floor was sticky. And then but the thing I knew about Playboy Cardi, from what I heard, he always brings out somebody. So I was like thinking, all right, who's Playboy Cardi gonna bring out? Because I heard in Rolling Loud he brought out A$AP Rocky. So I'm like thinking, is it A$AP? It better be fucking A$AP. No, I brought up Skepta. But I was like, oh shit, it's Skepta. I was like,
Don't disrespect Skepta.
like,
Leave
no,
me
this-
oof.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
I like
Hey, yo, get
Skepta.
out. What the
I
fuck?
don't know, man.
Can't believe niggas is disrespecting Skepta.
Bro, I don't know.
I
I can't say nothing. I don't know.
Alright,
you
he's
already
like
did it. I can't say.
he's like a king over there because like he's like the biggest London rapper, right?
Yeah, he's like the only one that's like really made rounds in like America.
Yeah.
But then there's Ocean Wisdom, who I really love. You might not know
I
who
have
he
no
is,
idea
but like,
who that nigga
you
is.
need to listen to that nigga.
Ocean
You need to
Wisdom.
listen- You need to listen to that man.
Is he a fucking Rasta? Yo,
Ocean
Wisdom. What the fuck?
No, he's British, so you gotta put in the accent. But yeah, like, I love Ocean Wisdom. I was hoping to see him sometime, but I didn't.
Ocean.
You need to listen to him. He's actually really good. I love him.
I refuse.
Me and David love him. Shut your ass up.
I refuse. Can you imagine going on Apple Music and you see a nigga named Ocean Wisdom? What the
Like, what is going on here?
Damn, so that's tight.
Yeah.
You met Skepta and
I
Playboy
didn't really
Cardi.
meet them. I was just
Hey,
there.
hey, man, y'all breathe the same air. Oh my god.
But Skepta was on stage for like 30 seconds. I was like,
What
you
the
know, he
fuck?
got in, he started rapping, and he was out again. I was like, where are you going?
He,
Praise the Lord. And he dips.
Yeah.
Lord. That's some shit Ocean, whatever he would say. I forgot his name already.
No, you need to listen to him. All you go home and watch, you know, play some Ocean Wisdom. Specifically a song, Walk.
Yeah, that's
I'll do it.
You will do. But yeah, that's
This nigga.
it's a no for me.
fuck you.
He's
I'm
white.
that way. He's
Kind of mixed, but more white.
Oh, this thing looks like a square.
I'm telling you.
Oh my god. Well, what's this? Why does he have a tennis racket over his face?
Because
Oh.
it's Ocean
What
Wisdom.
is that? He thought that was artistic, huh?
Wow.
Bro, it's underground London rap. Like I asked someone who's
You ever
from
heard of
London.
Stormzy? Yeah, that's my name.
I asked like people like, oh, is Ocean Wisdom really big in London? He's like, oh yeah, hella big. Like I'm like, okay, he must be that great, and I know he's that great. I love his, like he's on SoundCloud, bro. You guys need to listen to Ocean Wisdom. He's really good.
Views.
Just
I think.
Yeah, I'll get around to that.
Damn, he got 6 million views for this.
All right.
Fucking production by Dirty Mike. What kind of name is
that dirty, a great ass. He makes the
Cosmo,
best
how many
beats.
views you got?
Ooh.
No. That really?
No, that's crazy.
I was
Oh, I'm about to say some reckless shit. But you know what?
Really?
My nigga.
I'm asking
I don't have
because
anything
you
like
sing.
No, let's see. I'm just skating on purpose.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, really, bro? Like, you really gonna turn that into this? But
I don't know. I'm not on YouTube.
oh yeah, he's one of them bougie artists where he's like, oh, I don't pay attention to that type of stuff. I don't read the comments.
I was that bougie.
Cause like, what the fuck? Of course
Listen,
you're
bro,
supposed to pay attention, especially
No.
like if you're up and coming. Like,
No, because that nigga's gonna try to influence you.
How?
Because niggas gonna be like, oh, you should do it like this, or you should do it like that, because they think that you on the same level.
that doesn't mean you're not listening.
But
No.
you not.
Niggas.
Yeah, he is.
Why does this sound like this? Because I don't have my own fucking studio.
I do.
Oh shit, my fault.
All right. Anyways. So
Alright,
that
so
was.
Ruth had a fire ass trip
Yep.
with Adidas.
Shout out to all the
She
people
met-
that I met.
She met fucking Pharrell.
Why you said it like that?
Because every time she said Pharrell, she said fucking. Like every time.
Well, yeah, I met fucking Pharrell. Who you met,
So-
Cosmo?
Yo,
He
I
met
met
Tyler
you,
the Creator.
didn't I?
Thank you very much.
You're bigger than Pharrell.
they're bigger than Pharrell,
In
bro.
my
You
eyes.
everywhere. Don't nobody care about no human races. We care about them roofs.
What we're not gonna do is call those new shoes roofs.
The Ruth and them D's, boy.
Y'all boys caught them Tampis. The Tampis.
The roof boosts.
So, to transition into a freaking weird note, we're gonna have to like, we're gonna have to say rest in peace to my nigga XXX
Yo, for real.
Tentacion. I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to notice all these niggas saying Jase. Y'all niggas did not call him.
You
Jase.
feel me?
Yeah,
Like,
I was like, oh wow.
Stop trying.
like
to
even
act
me, I'm not gonna
yo,
lie. I never really listened to like his whole album like completely through. Like I listened to maybe half the songs on it,
Yeah.
but I
noticed
was never
a lot
really
of
the
niggas,
one.
bro. All of a sudden, everybody. Oh, I knew him, bro. He was on
Yeah,
my block.
like, come
what?
on, dude.
Come on, chill out.
It's a
Like,
big ass
I-
block.
The most I know is probably like he lived in what was it, Lauderhill?
More like
I
He
knew
went to
up and down
Piper.
I never
Deerfield.
knew him. I was friends with a lot of people who knew him.
Yeah.
But like,
Y'all remember Caesar? He met X at the mall.
Oh, at the mall.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
That was
When he was there that day at Sawgrass?
Yeah, he worked at Sawgrass at the time, and he was like.
No, it was Coral
Cool-
Squares.
no, yeah, it was.
Oh, Coral Square, okay.
I saw Flyboy Tarantino in Broward Mall. I was like, what y'all niggas doing here? Like, what the fuck?
At Broward.
Like, ew, of all the damn malls, Broward.
I mean, did you guys like really fuck with his music?
I like the
I
few songs.
like it. It's different,
It was different.
and I feel like it did usher in a lot of people that tried to copy his style at least.
Yeah.
He was more like he was
Drunk it.
Tekashi 6ix9ine talking about he started screamo rap. I'm like, bro.
Come on,
No,
dude.
you didn't.
The fuck out of here.
No, you
Well, I think his screaming rap is a bit different than X's
It is, but-
screaming rap.
And I don't know who raised y'all niggas, but like, bro, the man's dead. Like, you don't gotta be like, oh, good. Like, come on.
Bro,
Like,
you seen that stuff?
shit was
Like, it's
so
all over.
grimy.
Like, people really talking like that.
But
That's
they're
how
the
they
same
really
people who
feel.
Don't like the death penalty. That makes no sense to me. If you don't like the death penalty, then why the fuck are you like celebrating? I don't get it, bro.
That's
like,
the
yeah,
weird
this
part
nigga wasn't
thing.
like a role model, obviously. But you don't have to. Or I'm gonna do the same shit that all these other memers do, bro. Like, if Malcolm X died when he was fucking funny, then they could be all this bullshit. He'll be a rapist. He'll be a woman beater.
Yeah.
Like, niggas, bro. I don't understand, bro.
They don't let the
I kind of do want to talk about that. Like, I mean, he wasn't really like the best.
He wasn't the
person.
best role model, but
Yeah,
Like-
but I still respect like what he did. He
Of
brought
course.
something new to the table, you know, and he was always like pro, like be yourself. And like y'all saw how Kanye was like he even inspired him. So I that's what I really respect him for. He was always, you know, be you, you know, be true to yourself. What I don't like is how some people are comparing him to Pac. He was definitely not Tupac.
I've never
He's
seen him
like
compared
You never
they're
seen
like
it?
No, there's a lot of stuff
they're
on
There's a
like,
lot.
Instagram.
like, oh, he's the
I
I wouldn't
Tupac.
say. I wouldn't like.
I wouldn't
I
say
don't-
he's exactly like Pac.
I feel like he's the closest.
Like, people kind of want that. Like, people
Yeah,
Like, oh, he's
like,
the Pac of our generation.
Yeah,
that is
like-
not true. He's
It's a reach, but
He's
he's
his
probably.
own
I feel like
person.
he's the closest.
The
If we were-
closest?
No, I feel the reason why that talk happened because like for our time he was the biggest artist. Like
Nah,
even though we
not
personally
even.
listen to
Not
him,
even.
the biggest artist that we know that got killed.
He was the biggest artist that got killed doing some shit.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I'm
Tupac.
saying.
I-
Like, he got killed. The
I think
biggest
he's
artist
the-
we know got killed.
Because I don't know. I
But
don't
that's
know
like the
anyone
only.
else.
That's like the only similarity. It's just okay. They
Yeah.
both got killed, but like
But
besides
he was a
that,
big
them
influence
as
still though, right?
I just think
I don't
on
know.
the
they were
influential
both-
level,
They
like
were both
maybe.
talking about the same type of shit though.
they were
Yeah,
like what?
like the whole depression shit. Tupac was. Y'all
Yeah.
niggas ever listen to that shit?
Of course.
yeah, I listened to
Yeah, I
Tupac,
was-
but Tupac his stuff was more like
Yeah, he was more
lyrical.
like a.
It
I do
wasn't
see.
re-
I do see the
Niggas know that
similarity.
Tupac is not that lyrical. If you listen to, that's why. That's,
I could tell you there's a better
Not that
storytelling
lyrical?
in his rap than
Nah, I don't
what
think
X
he was that
writes.
Not that lyrical. What do you?
he's not that lyrical.
Well, what do you mean by
like
lyrical?
Kendrick type, where you really have to
The
think
argument
about
with
it.
him and Biggie was that Biggie was more lyrical, but Tupac was more conscious. Like niggas wasn't looking at Tupac to out rap niggas.
Yeah.
They was looking at Tupac to represent a movement. Like how niggas look at X to represent the whole depression movement,
The mental
whole
health.
mental health awareness movement.
So I can see
So,
where
like,
that.
I can
where
see.
he-
I can see.
yeah.
Yeah, kind of like the
But
connection.
they
like
obviously
he-
didn't make the same music.
Yeah,
they didn't have
they-
the same amount of influence. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not now, but probably later in the future.
Yeah.
I just think people were saying that because he touched a lot of people. You know,
Yeah.
like I definitely respect him for that. You know?
Plus, he was a Broward kid, you guys.
Yeah.
He actually did a lot for Broward. Like I
Yeah.
did some research. I was like, damn, like this man was really out there trying to help the community.
No, but niggas only they don't see that, bro. They only read like the allegations and accusations. And if
Yeah.
he did do that shit, that's tough shit. That's fucked up. But like, you can't kick a man when he's trying to do better, especially if he's dead. That's
Yeah, that's like, are you dead ass?
And then there's some people that even say, oh, you know, he's just doing all this just for the, you know, publicity. You know, he's only.
But if he
donating
wasn't
to-
doing none of that shit, then he was still like, what do you want him to
Yeah,
do?
it's
bro?
like-
Yeah.
I swear,
It's the
bro.
same
Like,
thing with
anybody
Drake and the
happy.
Gods plan. Like he's just doing this to promote music.
And
Like,
it's,
like-
it's
like-
like, damn, it's like you people don't want to see good shit happening. That's
Yeah.
so weird.
Like,
That's
I'm-
It's
weird.
like, what?
That's like the whole camera thing. Like when you're just recording yourself doing that. Like I get it. Even if he's doing it for the wrong reasons, like he's still doing some shit that's helping other people. Unless it's just, I gave a homeless guy $20. Like, that's just stupid. But like if they're like recording themselves doing these good deeds, like volunteering and shit like that, I never personally saw a problem with shit like that. It doesn't even matter what reasons he's doing it. The fact that he's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like Elon Musk, like all we can know, he could just be making these electric cars to just get the bread. But either way, it's gonna be helping the earth.
I think a good question to ask all those people is like, once a person like messes up publicly or they do something wrong, what do you think they should do? You tell them, or you tweet or whatever. Like, what do you think they should do? Because it's like,
Bro, they're
if
gonna
they-
say some dumb shit like, I don't give a fuck. He can't.
yeah. So it's like if they try to do better, you don't like them. You don't like them for what they did. So it's like, what do they do? Like I think of people that did something and went to jail. You know, so it's like, you know how it's like the cycle. because they're like, damn, I'm gonna end up going back anyway. So it's like, fuck it. But you got something that's trying, so it's like, which was X, you know, he was trying. So
that's crazy, bro. Like it was so like the thing, like it didn't like I'm not all right. Like I'm not like those other people who like cry and all that stuff. Like yeah, like I mourned him or whatever, but not in that same way, like emotionally. But like it was just crazy to me how like of all people, the one that was like not even rapping about the street life. He
was even in trouble. Wasn't even beefing with a lot of people at the time.
Took him out. That's crazy to me. Like he's the one out of all these niggas. Like 6 9's out here talking about nigga who gonna kill me? Who gonna kill me? And
the chief, like especially with the whole Chief Keef beef.
Yeah, he went up to his block and everything.
Like,
but then X had to die, and
X died.
It's weird.
No, but X had beef. Like I think when he went to California, like didn't he get knocked out? Remember on stage?
But that was like really old.
That was
Rob
old, and they
something.
rekindled like the friend. They redid everything.
Yeah, Rob Stone.
do you guys think it was a setup, or do you think it was just like a robbery?
Everything's a setup.
It had to be.
It was.
They said that they
premeditated,
followed
like,
him.
Yeah.
I think it's jealous niggas.
Yeah.
Actually, they already confirmed that it was premeditated.
Yeah, it was
like they went over it. Like they planned it. They
The guy-
found the guy. He went to the store and bought gloves and mask. They're
Yeah,
like,
and then he recorded X that same day. He recorded him the same day at the shop.
Damn.
This shit was planned. What were you all doing when you received the news that X was taken out?
I was in the shower. Scrubbing down. You know?
I was literally getting off work. I was on the bus, and then Piero was like, X got shot. And I was like, rappers always get shot. Why is he texting me this? And then my mom said, X got shot. And I was like, okay, this is something big. And then I looked, X no post. I was like, yo, get the fuck out of here. And then I was going to get my hair cut, and it was like, I went on IG and I saw Little Sniff's thing, and like she was crying, and then it was like, oh, X has been pronounced dead. I was like, oof.
So wait,
This is bad.
this isn't adding up. You don't have a haircut.
Man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry. I had
I went there and
another thing you said. You said you were like, what? Rappers don't get shot?
No,
I said
rappers get
get
shot all the time.
Oh,
But he didn't think
so
he was
you didn't
gonna
believe
die.
it because people
Yeah,
say that all the
I
time.
believed he got shot.
But he didn't
got
think he
shot.
died,
But I didn't
actually.
think he was like, oh,
I think I was
done.
I think I was at work too, or on my way to work when I seen it in the group chat. It was like he got shot, but they didn't say anything about him dying. So I was just like, all right, so he's probably gonna head to the hospital. They'll probably figure all that shit out, start an investigation, whatever. And then like, I think it was like an hour or two later, they confirmed it. I was just like, yo, this is like wild. Then it really hit me like, damn.
When I saw the video at first, I was like, all right, I had 2 opinions. Like in my mind, I was like, I don't know. I was like thinking like it was a movie or some shit. Like, oh, this nigga's not gonna die like that. You know what I'm saying? But in my head, like I knew, like, bro, that nigga was slumped over. Like when once you're shot in the chest and you're just left there for like a minute. Yeah, he was like I knew.
He
like,
was shot through the neck, actually.
Yeah, they shot him in the neck and in the body too. I was like, oh my god.
I was just finishing. I watched The Incredibles 2, and I was there for like a good 2 hours, and the movie was great. And then all of a sudden, when the movie ended, I go on my phone. I'm like, oh, I saw you text me. I didn't see your text first. What I did see first was the Hypebeast notification, and it was already confirmed. Oh, X pronounced dead. I was like, excuse me.
Excuse me. What the fuck? Like, yeah, that shit was crazy to me.
But you see how people are like talking about you see the video of his dead body. He doesn't have his tattoos. There's like no blood. Like
Yeah, but it's the lighting, bro.
It was the lighting.
It's really the lighting.
But then it's
Really?
weird because people went on this guy the next day too. I was like taking an Uber to school, and the Uber was playing like the radio station. I think it was the Breakfast Club, where like a person had called in and said, "Oh, stop spreading the fake news that X is dead. This was for a music video." He went on Facebook Live last night and said it was all for a music video. And I'm like, first of all, X don't use Facebook. And then
Yeah, what the fuck? Facebook Live?
I was like,
What is that?
That's way more on IG.
What is
exactly.
that?
I'm like,
Facebook Live.
I ain't even heard of that shit. I didn't know that was a thing.
And it's them basically like, remember when he did the music video for Look At Me and he hung himself and stuff? It's that video of him like, oh, I'm not dead. That's like me. That's for a music video. Like, I'm doing this for you guys. And they keep bringing that up. I'm like, are you
like,
dead
yeah, are you
ass?
retarded?
If you listen to the whole video, he's literally saying the noose is a symbolism.
I do think like what if? Alright, so he's having. Do you guys plan on going to that memorial or his funeral? I should say.
That's tomorrow, right?
Maybe I'm good.
I don't.
But like,
I don't
it's,
wanna go.
what if? All right, so like they say you can't bring a phone and it's an open casket.
You
right?
can't take pictures.
No, you can't bring your phone.
Oh, at all?
Like you
Yeah,
can't bring
like
your
at
phone.
all.
Oh, you gotta leave that shit in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you're taking the bus? Where are you gonna put that?
And I'll just leave it in the bus.
They better have like a little, like at school when you
This
take
nigga
your
said I'm
test.
leaving in a bus. Oh my god. What the fuck?
Who's man?
Leave it with the bus driver like, hey, yo, pick me up. Yo, be back here. In a couple hours. Like, what if
Matter of fact, don't leave.
what if he just like gets up? That'd be crazy.
He's like,
Yeah, you know how much niggas would be like, really? I told you this nigga trash. Like niggas, yo.
That would be the end. If you-
Yeah, that'd be the
I
end of his
mean,
career.
they already
That
started
shit.
riots when he died. So imagine a riot that would start.
Yo, that, like
I don't
I've
understand
seen
that shit either. Like, bro, starting riots like that nigga dead already. Like, what do you?
yeah.
I'm, like, I'm not
What
sure
is that
X
gonna
wanted-
solve? Niggas just like to steal, man.
It
What's
wasn't
really
even in.
sad
It
is
wasn't
what
in
happened to his
Florida.
ex.
Yeah.
What happened to his ex was really sad too. Like when she went to, cause I think on the beach, somewhere on the beach around here, they had like a small little memorial for him.
Yeah.
Like a little, a quick thing, and she came just to pay respects. She brought stuff. She actually brought like a photograph. I think she brought like a teddy bear and
I
some
think they
roses.
burned it or
They
something?
burned it.
And then they kicked her, like they
They kicked her out. They
Kicked her out
fought
and-
her
yeah.
and they burned her stuff.
That's
that
crazy.
shit's fucked up.
I'm
Damn,
like-
that's fucked up. But like, what do you expect? Like, you really thought you was just gonna hop in there with X fans? Like, those niggas are like, they're
Die hard.
crazy.
But
They're
I
like
was
Tyler
like-
Creator fans.
But I'm like, let everyone mourn. Like, come on now. At least she had like, I'm pretty sure there was some good times she had with X. Like there was some days.
At
that
some point, yeah,
At
but
some
then
point. I
Well,
mean,
they
yes,
did
there
that
was
to
a
her
turning point.
because of the accusations that she
Yeah.
they did to her.
Wasn't
But-
there something
also,
that
this was the
didn't
one
she
that-
say she
Yeah.
was lying about that or something?
I don't know if that's true or not.
She's like, she wasn't pregnant at the time, so that part was a lie. And then she dropped the case.
Yeah, she
Oh,
did
she
drop
dropped
the
it?
case.
I thought she was still going with it.
Nah, she
No, the
dropped
case
it.
was dropped.
Oh.
It's just niggas only read the headlines.
Yeah.
I swear, bro. I've seen it with my own eyes.
What?
I see like someone tweet out like a news thing, and like the headline would be some crazy shit like, "Oh, Kanye kills," and then it would be like, when you read it, it'd be like, "Oh, his first song," and niggas be like, "What the fuck, Kanye out here murdering niggas?" Like in the mentions, I'm like, bro, read the fucking article.
That's what I thought with the X thing too, because when I swiped down, I'm like X pronounced, and I didn't like finish yet. I was like, oh, X pronounced what? A new
Alive.
album? Scroll all the way through, dead. I was like, what the fuck? It was just so sad. Like even David was shocked, and he doesn't even like his music that much. I was like, dang, he's dead. Like it was crazy that he was extra young too. He was pretty much our age.
Yeah, that's
That's the crazy part.
the crazy part that he's our age
Yeah.
actually.
The man was making big moves.
Yeah.
I always think about like, damn, like, I wonder like what the fuck he's shit. Cause like if religion is complete bullshit, then like, damn, is he just like that shit? Oh, that shit.
I don't know.
I don't even want to think about that shit.
I can.
I don't even want to think about that shit. That shit gets me like.
But like
butterflies.
he left like his girlfriend, his current girlfriend now is pregnant, and the mom went on Instagram and just, like posted a picture of an ultrasound. So and with the caption, he left us a final gift.
I don't know if they
So
did
I
that
was
the right
like-
way, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was
like,
kind of like,
it's-
I was like, I mean,
They're trying
apparently
all
he
this too
knew.
hard. They're trying too hard with this whole Tupac thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that had nothing to do with Tupac. I just said they went about it the wrong way with the pronouncing the kid. I mean, showing the ultrasound and stuff. I just
mean,
felt like
his
they went
mom
about
did
it the wrong
that.
way.
But then like you see people like, okay,
People are-
2035, like X child's dropping. Look at me now too, like part 2.
That'd be crazy. People are like saying like, oh, like the mom is like trying to like, cause she started a GoFundMe for this other charity, cause apparently like, I guess that's what he wanted to do before he died.
Yeah, he
Yeah, like
pronounced
on
he was
his
a
story.
charity, but Ski Mask pronounced he was gonna take over.
And niggas is like saying like, oh, like, how about you just give all his money away to charity instead of asking them? I'm like, no, are you fucking stupid?
That's his hard ass work.
That's right. And
Yeah.
then you saw he was using that money to help communities and help his family. It
I
came
don't
out that he
understand
bought
people,
like
bro.
6 houses for his family.
Niggas who don't have money love telling other niggas to give away their money.
Yeah.
But when they get money, they're not. What?
You just like
Yo,
when you
like-
get money, you just like nah.
Exactly, bro. I just hate hypocrites like with a passion. Cause I know a lot of people who like they always talk that talk, but they never do shit. Social justice ass niggas like I don't get that shit, bro.
Well, he did bring up the Florida scene, so thank you, X.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Florida scene.
That could lead into
So
our
yeah,
next
so
topic.
final note, R.I.P. X.
Yeah.
So
So
now we're going to the next topic.
with the death of X, do you think that is the death of the Florida scene?
Hell
No, but it is the death of a good portion of it.
So do you think the Florida scene is on a decline, or you think it's still rising?
I think it's plateaued
Yeah,
at this point.
Explain.
It's plateaued. We've reached a really decent point with the amount of upcoming artists, but I don't think we've surpassed that point that we're at yet.
I think
It's just
we-
gonna
I think
stay
we-
there.
I think it just got really stagnant. Like after that killing, it just got it's like oof.
Because we took a blow.
No, I don't even think after that. Like we've plateaued like way before that, but now it's like we don't have this artist, and there's no way to actually,
Get up.
There's a way. It's we took a blow because X wasn't just a regular, like, he wasn't just one of those regular SoundCloud rappers. He actually tried to bring something new to the table, and it's not a lot of people that's trying to do that and are known right now. Like, a lot of them are doing the same shit. They're trying to, because they see Trippie Redd or whoever that get really big just doing the same shit. So they're like, oh, I want the money too. We just need somebody new to come up just like X, but of course he was different. We're not gonna get the same person, but
So on that note, follow you with Cosmos Devils.
Oh God, what a plug.
So I mean, like besides X, who is there? There's Lil
Ski
Pump.
Mask.
but
Ski Mask.
when you think of Fort Lauderdale, you think of X. When you think of Florida, you
I mean,
think of
I think
X.
of Kodak too, but if you
Kodak's
know-
in jail.
he's in jail.
Yeah, but
If
once he
he
gets
ever-
out, he's gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you notice one thing about all those artists that came up big, when Ski came up big with X, what's the first thing he did? He left to New York. X stayed down here. What's the first thing Lil Pump did? He moved to California. All those niggas left. The only one who stayed here was X.
I didn't
Alright.
know
That's
Lil
why I
Pump
feel like
was
it's
in
such a
Florida.
big blow. He was building a house in Parkland.
Isn't Smokey Perp from here as well?
Smoky Perp.
Right? Some
Yeah,
sort of-
Smoke Perp.
Smoke Perp? Smokey Perp.
Smoky Perp.
He said smoke.
It's little Kodak down there.
Okay, so Pierre was
Sound
canceled.
like the father, bro.
You are canceled.
I could have swore it was like a
Is that
Y in
like
his
is that
name.
like your little fucking cutty name for him? Like a little Smoky Perp. I like your new single. Oh my god.
Pierre's canceled for the rest of the podcast, dog.
Smokey Perp.
Yeah, Smoke Perp from here.
What part? Is he from Miami or Fort Lauderdale? Okay.
Oh, listen.
What about Banks?
Oh, I remember all this.
Yeah, you guys are like neglecting the whole members only movement.
There's also Denzel Curry.
Oh, yeah, I was just
Denzel
about to
Curry's
say
Like,
not
yo,
here.
I haven't heard of Denzel Curry in a minute.
He has his own little niche. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
He's
like
from
his-
Florida?
But he's not here
Yeah,
yet.
Miami.
He's from Carroll City.
I did not know that.
He's from
Yeah. He left though.
He left?
Yeah,
I thought he was
left
still
Florida.
rapping.
I mean, he reps Florida, but like he's not always stationed here 24/7.
I mean,
no one- yeah, no
stationed
one, yeah.
here 24/7.
X was stationed here.
No, he
Nah.
was in California. He was in
For
Yeah,
a
he
little
went to
bit.
other
No, but I
places.
think
to
X
do
did
things, but X,
a
like,
better job of putting on for Broward.
Really? I think
Or he was really up there. Kodak, well, yeah,
I think
Kodak
Kodak
obviously,
is, like, the
but I'm
most
saying X is one of the
patriotic
two,
Floridian.
or one of the top ones that really put on for where they're from.
It's because like I don't know. I think the Florida I think we're only gonna get bigger and bigger. To be
Well,
honest.
clearly, but I feel like it's just gonna take, like we're at a hiccup right now.
Yeah, like the reason why like I question that, like where's Florida at now, is because besides those rappers, what else is there to Florida? There's a few stores here,
I know,
but
You don't need-
there's like no other scene. Like you
but
know what I mean?
There's just scenes you don't know about. There's a punk scene.
Yeah,
there's a
you're
rock scene.
right,
There's
yeah.
a metal scene. There's a big ass skate scene.
Yeah.
Miami's one of the best cities to skateboard in.
Mm.
It is known like that because it's such a pretty scenery and you don't get kicked out as much.
As much.
Like Miami there's a big ass skate scene here. Every kid, if you go into a classroom in every fucking school in America, there's at least one kid who skates.
I mean,
You know what I'm
me,
saying?
bro. You see my skateboard right over there.
You don't skate. Shut up.
Oh my god.
And this is why you're not gonna get some shoes.
What's it called?
That's crazy.
When you're just skating and you're not doing any tricks
Cruising.
or anything. I'm just cruising, guys. Get out the way.
But yeah, but then there's an art scene. Y'all niggas are here. You guys do
Well-
art. Y'all niggas like what?
There's an art scene, but it's definitely not, I guess what I would compare to. But I think
That's because the scene is young. Most of the niggas in the art scene
it's
are
growing.
young.
It's growing.
So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna grow and it's gonna get better. Niggas in New York are already grown. Those niggas are fucking grown ass men.
I guess
Been
you
there,
could say
done that type shit.
Miami's a little more low key. It's definitely not what it used to be. Which is why we're more pro New York. But it's more low
I think
key.
it's better than what it used to be.
I mean, Wynwood is
Yeah,
dying.
Wynwood
but-
specifically, or just like the
The
'cause
whole
Wyn-
scene. The whole scene.
Wynwood is definitely not what it used to be. In my opinion, the art, it's
There's always gonna
It's
be
like you can go there
can
only
say
so
that
many
about-
times before you start to see
Yeah.
repetition.
It looks like a
and-
bunch of interior designers, and it glows at night with a bunch of parties. It's not like
You
Yeah, it's not really-
You can say that about everything though, because New York is it's the same shit. But New York in the '80s and New York when like Same O was just coming around, like all that shit is definitely not the same art scene as it is now. Because right now it's pretty paper cut. It's pretty much everyone's doing abstract.
That's just,
Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, geographically speaking, like how New York is built, like everything's so condensed in a small
Oh yeah,
area.
everything's prettier. I guess you could say that.
Not like prettier, but like
I think what it is people in New York. I feel like they have a stronger.
connection to one another.
Yeah,
Nigga,
like
a lot more niggas are proud.
they
to be-
push more to go past like boundaries, whereas here it's like everybody is just real static. Like they
I don't even
keep
think
to
that's it.
one style.
I think that it's just a lot more patriotism, or however you say that word. It's a lot more niggas
Patriotism.
proud from to be from New York than niggas proud to be from Florida, because first of all the atmosphere that Twitter puts on Florida, where we're like the dumbest state in America.
Florida man.
Even like TV
Like Charlemagne.
shows.
Charlemagne says like every crackhead is either from Florida or
Yeah.
the Bronx.
Even
like,
TV show niggas
kinda
is like,
true,
oh,
but-
like, I want Florida to melt already or get sunken already, and I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, it's
yeah,
like
on
everywhere.
TV
Like,
and media, I
like
know what
Florida
you
is freaking hated. You know what I'm saying? But like everyone loves New York, but like niggas don't like. Once you get to New York, it's not like it's cool, but it's not like people think that it's gonna be like some fairy tale.
Like what I mean is like the scene is bigger in New York, and
That's
like
because
in
it's
California, yeah, because they have that they have that history,
And in California, the
But-
scene is not really.
like LA.
Is there like a big art scene
in
that much?
California,
Yeah, I'm pretty
yes,
sure there
it's
is,
huge.
yeah.
I feel like it's more of an acting scene and shit like that.
Okay, well,
Well-
even that, like
I think it's more lifestyle.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
more of like a.
But-
Like the scene there is. I like New York way better than California because California seems a little more fucking. That shit seems like. Sometimes I look at stuff like out of California. I'm like, man, it's kind of
Hollywood.
lame. Yeah, like it's kind of like paper. It's even more paper cut than New York. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I see what he's saying. It's like New York, in a lot of ways, it name precedes it because it's like, oh, New York is the place to be. Because originally there were a shitload of artists there, and
Yeah.
then it started getting expensive.
Basquiat
Then they
area,
all
era,
it started
Peak
getting
area.
expensive.
Andy
Then they
Warhol.
all moved to like a certain section of New York, but there's still a lot of artists that's living there. That's why it's still, that's why it's still as big as it is, and I doubt they're ever gonna leave.
I think it's the history.
Yeah, exactly.
Once like New York has that history that backs it, so no matter what happens,
Yeah.
they're still gonna be like, oh, Basquiat.
yeah, versus
You know
Miami.
what I'm saying? Miami doesn't really have that. They got Colombian drug lords and Cuban drug lords.
We have that one artist that just be everywhere. What is it? Brito? Is that his name?
yeah, but even
But nobody
now it's
actually
like
want to talk about Brito anymore.
Oh, we
like,
have there's a lot of street artists. I forgot his name, but
Atomic.
yeah, him.
That's
Yeah,
There's a
in
lot of
the-
street artists
In the
that are around.
future, Miami will definitely be more known for like its urban art,
But do you think like it's like, can it still be saved? Because like we've been there like a few
It's
days
not bad.
ago. We've been to actual downtown Miami. That shit looks like an apocalypse happened. Like,
I feel like-
it's
But
empty.
that's-
The streets are empty.
You're not wrong, Pierre. I go to school in Miami. You know how I feel like walking down the
Yeah.
street. It's like shit's dead.
Yeah,
But,
it's
like,
I
there.
understand, but that's gentrification. It's too expensive to live there.
That is true.
Well, and New York is getting like
It's
that
not
too.
not even just living there. Like businesses, like every single business is closed.
Gentrification.
That's happening in New York too. That's happening like right across the street from my grandma.
Niggas is homeless in New York right now because they tear down the buildings or they up the rent so much.
So you're saying maybe it's looking like that now, but it's gonna pretty much replenish with a bunch of rich shit.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
So hopefully,
Like at Aventura,
yeah.
Oh my
they
god.
took out the whole cheap
yeah.
section.
Hopefully it doesn't the art there doesn't wipe away with it.
No,
you
it's
know?
gonna wipe away eventually.
So,
Or at least
so
most
I
how-
mean, it's not
so,
like there's
but-
any art left
But,
there.
but listen,
like,
listen. But
Nah,
if it does go away with that, how do you think Miami's gonna grow? Because contemporary.
Miami's gonna eventually it's gonna be a really big underground.
It's gonna force artists to put out work that's gonna stand out.
More organized also. It's gonna force artists to not just rely on the advertisement of the city.
That's what I hope will happen because it reminds me of Cause. Cause didn't like all this advertisement shit, so he went and spray painted over it, and that's what got him so big. So hopefully there's like a revolve.
But Cause is like one of the most known contemporary artists.
Yeah.
And for his work, so, going from graffiti and then when he was in college, and then after that getting a job in animation, he was a background painter for that show Doug, and and then going off to actually doing sculptures and more painting stuff. Like what actually defines him to be more contemporary? Because Miami is just what's different with him and Atomic. They both started with street art. They both have a character that people see.
Yeah. That's what got him known. The graffiti is what got him known. Because when people look up at the advertisements of the models or whatever, this rich shit, he spray painted his character over the head or that's what was really cool. It was almost like, we're trying to take back what you guys are,
So it's like he adapted but changed it at the same time.
Hopefully that's what happens.
That's what I'm saying. There's people like that in Miami. It's just nobody's shining enough light on it. So people think that Miami's art scene is dead, but it's really not. Like when we went there, there was artists there. It's
Wait, what are you
they're
talking
not-
about?
They're not known. When we went to that crazy ass mall,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it wasn't a
There
mall. It was
Yeah.
literally an artist, a street artist. He bought that building, and now he gives other artists that space to use and do their art and shit like that. That's why it's not gonna look as nice as fucking Broward Mall because it's not a mall. It's literally a place. It's a big ass space for artists. You know what I'm saying? It may look crazy, but New York in the '80s was not. That shit was worse than that. But there were still artists thriving. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily how nice the place looks. You can't look at that to define the art scene. You have to look at the
No,
artists.
but I'm not talking about just like that. Oh, it looks raggedy, so there's no scene. But I mean, like in terms of the art that me and Corey do and Ruth as well, which is more painting and stuff like that. That scene, besides Art Basel, which is everyone from all over the place comes and flying. Besides that, one weekend, it's just dead. How I see it.
I understand.
I know there are some underground shows here and there, but it's not consistent,
Yeah, it's
there's a
never
greater influence in New York.
And you also have to take into accountability the amount of people that live in New York.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say. The atmosphere in New York, it's all very close. Like from Manhattan to
condensed.
but it's working. That's from Manhattan to Queens. It's 12 miles, just kind of close. But in Florida, Broward to Miami, that's just 28 miles. Everyone's got to drive. Or take the train
That's
just
actually
to
what
just to
makes
go
it
to the
better.
show. That's what makes it better.
No, I think that's why New York is actually so successful with the
Yeah.
artists, because it's so compact.
Yeah.
It forces everybody to go
Yeah,
one on top of the other.
the
one on
train
top
to
of the
the
other.
Bronx is like
Yeah, like
that.
that.
Here.
We're not going there.
But if my name,
Stop.
Driving to Miami is an hour.
Yeah, I think that's
Union Park too?
It's like you kind of quit okay, this is a show in Miami and you live in Broward. It's oh, this shit's an hour away. Do I really want to go? Unlike in New York, it's okay, it's a 20-minute train ride. You just go.
True.
But
That kind of affects things,
although I'm definitely kind of pro New York when it comes to art, if my name ever got big, I would definitely say I would rap I came from Florida, although I went to New York because I feel like it definitely needs recognition. Because from what I hear, because people come into the art store all the time, show me pictures of what it used to be, or I grew up here, it was dangerous as shit, but the art was You know, so hopefully it gets back there.
Yeah.
So,
And I do think Miami is actually having like a bit of a rising now.
yeah, they're getting there.
Like, look at me. They found me. They decided to use. First they decided to use the city of Miami.
Did you say
They found me.
Did you say that you were from Florida in any of those interviews? I swear.
That's true.
Yes, I
You're not
said.
supporting the culture.
Yes, I did. I said I was from Miami. I told every.
I can't believe this.
I'm from Miami, huh?
You ain't from Miami.
You're from Broward.
But the thing is, I
Should've
went
been
to
like
school in Miami, so and I did a lot of stuff
The
in Miami.
fake flag.
What
It's
hospital
not fake.
were you born in?
Queens.
Yeah, she's from New York. So.
No, Oh,
No, he's so stupid.
I'm sorry, guys.
Done.
Well, all right. What would a person like me do? Because I moved out here like a few years ago, but I'm from New York.
I mean, I did too.
I think I'm
I
the
wasn't
only one
always
that
in
was
Florida.
actually
Which one
from
do you
down
feel
here.
like you should rep more?
You don't have to be born to a place to at least get
To
a
represent
recognition.
it.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, there are some good artists there. You know, I would
And
still
he
come
rains
down
me.
here. Like I still
New
want
York
to come.
on me.
Exactly. Like even
Like,
Freestyle
are you
right
305?
even if I moved to New York, I would still want to come down here to go to like art battles.
That's what I
and
was
shit.
saying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
What you mean to go to Art Basel? You mean to be in Art Basel?
Hell yeah.
Are you crazy?
Exactly.
you think I'm just gonna attend Art Basel? Just
Alright, so yeah. So I guess that's gonna conclude episode 3.
yeah. I think we can just wrap it up.
Talked about Ruth getting given shaving cream. That's hilarious to me.
Missing flights.
Either they thought she was a dude or they. Never mind.
Like,
Let me not
it
say
was a
this.
generalized pack. You got deodorant, you got your toothbrush, you got a razor, you got your
It's
lotion,
over.
you got
It's over.
chapstick. Like, they gave me a whole bunch of
essential.
shit.
They assumed the wrong gender, bro.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Follow all of us on our social medias. Follow at the Gleaners Club on Instagram, Twitter,
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
We will be on Apple's podcast soon, so be on the
Follow
lookout.
It's Jalen F.
And
Subscribe to It's Jalen F.
That's not my name on YouTube.
King
Yeah, it
Kurt's
is.
son.
It's just Jalen.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean Jalen Flowers.
It's Smoky Kirk.
Well, when you get to one, you'll get to the other.
Yeah. It's in the bio on
Follow.
my IG, so.
Follow all of the pages. Follow Pico Titty at Pico Titty on Instagram. Follow Piero's page, which is
I'll put it on the screen.
No, we're
this
not.
nigga.
No, we're not.
This nigga.
Okay,
You're gonna
anyways.
be that guy. I can't even remember my handle for.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think it's
Corey,
like Kira
follow Corey
Hendricks.
Lives.
Yeah, we'll just
Corey
put that in the
Lives.
description.
Ruta.
Ruth Tamfi on IG.
Ruth Tamfi.
And R.I.P. X and Rest in Peace Junior.
For sure.